Back to my channel. Yes, I'm finally getting my tutorial done for my card box or game box. So I'm going to start out today with doing the chipboard part of the box, and we'll see how long this video goes. And I may just do it in two parts, do the chipboard part first, and then I'm going to go ahead and work on the book and also the divider or the element on the front of the box. So let's get started. One of the things that you're going to need is your chipboard, and I have cut my chipboard at 8 1/4 by 9, and that's the bottom, and the two sides are going to be 8 1/4 by 2 1/2, and the bottom front and the bottom back are going to be 9 by 2 1/2. So I will try to list all the elements out on my box as well, and all the measurements, cutting guide, but you truly can make the cutting guide or the size of the box any size that you want. It really just depends upon how big or small that you would like to do it. So we're going to get started here. One of the ways that I start with this is I always do the inside elements first, and I match everything up, and then I get my black tape. And I use black tape in place of the hinges that a lot of people use. I like to use this black tape. It is from, I've tried to find some in the States, but I haven't been able to find anything in the States yet that I've used that I've really liked. This is from Claire Charville's store, My Creative Spirit, and I have ordered that before with some of the other kits that I've bought. So I just lay the front of the box down on the front of this this piece here, and I'm going to take my scissors, or I'm going to take my cutting mat, there it is, to cut this tape. And this is what we're going to do on all four sides of the bottom of the box. So I'm just going to go around and keep doing this. And this one looks like it's a little bit off. So one of the nice things about the tape is that you can really move it and reposition it a little bit, so that's also a good thing. All right. Going to match that one up. And I tried to do this as even as possible to the edge of the box. Look at that every time. So that I get a nice square edge of the chipboard and the box. And then push that down. I did buy some other black tape that I was going to try out, but like I said, I haven't had a chance to try it yet. But there might be other tapes out there that'll work, whether it's a Gorilla Tape or something that is acid-free. What am I doing here? Oops, this is the side. No wonder it didn't fit. Okay, so this is the bottom back of the box, and we'll just match that up on there. Take our tape. And then yes, we're going to do this all around the outside of the box. So I'm just going to do this inside, and then we'll start by looking at the outside. If some of this gets a little bit twisted, don't worry about it. That's actually going to be covered by the paper. I try to make it as clean and flat as possible, but sometimes, well, things just happen. And sometimes what I do too is I can even use my bone folder to make that even a little bit smoother. But even though there's a little bit of finagling with this tape, it actually is so much easier and quicker than putting all of the hinges on and cutting all the hinges and scoring them, and it works just as well. So all right. There we go. And most of this will all get, the edges of those will all be covered up because of the paper that we're going to be putting onto it. But this way, this raises this all up to the inside so that it sits to the, I'm sorry, not the inside, but the outside of the box. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go along and I'm going to tape all along the outside of this box as well, so that I can get a nice solid and clean fit all the way along on the box. And if you'd like to watch this, you're more than welcome to stay and watch. Otherwise, go ahead and fast forward to the next step in the process. And the next step that we're going to be doing after this is I'm going to pull the box sides up, and I will start doing not the hinges, but the corners of the box as well. So. And this tape is very light and easy to cut, so not that you have to press very hard on the chipboard, so it's not going to tear or wreck your chipboard. Just take it nice and light and easy on that. And even if you have a piece like this that's sticking off, if I just push it around, it actually will be just fine because it'll be covered by the paper. So got stuck all over here. All right. I'm going to start this over a little bit further because I want to get a nice straight edge on that. All right. And quite honestly, the more that you do this with the black tape, the easier it becomes because you just get used to the way it moves and, the best way to wrap it and work with it. I've made a couple of things with the black tape. I've not made as many projects as some. I have watched a video on Claire's channel where she, it's under My Creative Spirit, where she actually makes a box with the black tape, and she shows different ways with the albums to use black tape rather than black cardstock. So there's lots of uses for it. I prefer to use the cardstock on my albums, but for something like this, I think the black tape is just as good, or if not better, because it's a lot faster to put together than cutting and scoring all those black pieces. So get that a little bit flatter. All right. my apologies right up front if I get quiet as I'm crafting. I tend to be more of a quiet crafter. I usually listen to Netflix most of the time while I'm working on a project. So doing these videos or a tutorial as I'm working on a project is a little bit different for me. So I'm just bending these sides in to get this tape just to be a little bit more solid around. And we're going to push that down again so that we can get that adhered to the box and make that nice and tight, because we don't want too many wrinkles in that, but you do get some wrinkles as you go. So the next step that I'm going to do is I am going to go around the edge of the box and I'm going to pull up the sides, and we're going to tape those along there. So for this, I'm going to decide that the back and the front are going to sit on the outside of the box. And so I'm going to line up this piece of tape right to the top of that box, like this, and then pull this in so that the back of the box, oops, I did that wrong. Matches right up there with it. And it is going to be a little bit tight because you've got this the chipboard and all the tape holding it in. So I'm going to pull this in just a little bit further because I want it just a little bit tighter. And then you can do one of two things. You can either take this and trim this all the way off, or you can go ahead and miter the corners to lay it down. I like to do more cutting off, especially if it's facing towards the bottom. I'm good with that. So we're going to do the next corner then, and we'll continue to work our way around. And I like to take the cleanest side to the top of the box. Oops. I can just imagine somebody sitting out there and saying, Margaret, there's an easier way to do that. But this is just the way that I've found to do it, and it works for me. So if there's an easier way to do it, then you can write that down in the comments, and it'd be great to read what you have to say about how you've done it, or how it's maybe been easier for you in doing the edges of the box. Okay, this one's a little bit tighter, so I'm gonna take this a little bit more slowly coming up to have a little bit more of a tight fit on that. Okay. And any of the writing that you see on the box is really going to be, will be coming off, or sorry, not coming off, it'll be covered by the matting. So I'm not worried about any writing on the chipboard pieces because it'll all be covered up. So another way of doing this, here, let me show you what you can do. You can cut this right there, and then you can lay this down to this side and lay this side down that way. And sometimes that works really good if you can get a nice clean cut, but I try to watch that because sometimes I don't like the edges where that edge is right on the edge of this, because it'll be open and exposed with the paper. So a lot of times I'll just cut that off because it ends up getting covered over. Like along here, we're going to do some black tape as well. And now really for the box wise, this is probably the third or fourth box, and I use this tape on other projects as well. So I don't know how many yards is on the roll of black tape, but I have been able to get a lot of uses out of it. So, and even here you can see I'm a little bit off, or I'm a little cattywonk in here, and it's not that hard to fix that if I want to make it a little bit straighter. If I can get this tape off. So what I'll do is just take another piece of tape, and I'm going to go over this and make this line just a little bit straighter. And then again, we can either trim this all the way off, or we can miter it like I just did. But for right now, I am going to cut it all the way off and cut it down that way. And that's how I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go around and do the top. But one of the things that I want to think about too is that I had this as my bottom front and this is my bottom back. So the other pieces that we're going to need to finish off the box as a whole is I have a divider piece, and that divider piece is actually going to be taped right into here so that I can put the rule or the booklet, for the scoring booklet, that's the word I'm looking for, right in here, and then on this side I can put the cards. So you can see if you take this design of box, you could make all kinds of different cards, card games, or different types of items that you'd like with this. So what I am going to do is these pieces are going to be for the top of the box, and then this top part is going to fit on the bottom back of the box. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the tops of all of this, and then we're going to work on the top of the box, and then we're going to tape it. We're going to tape it on to the box itself. So this, I like to put this in like that, and then I like to go down along the top of the box and get the top edge of that black tape down nicely on top of the box, or as nicely as it'll go. Yeah, that's better. Get your bone folder out, and the bone folder helps with a myriad of things. So, and again, so much of this will be covered, you know, even if there's a little bit that you'll see that's showing, don't be too alarmed by it, because most of it will be covered. I would tell you again, this is not again, but I will tell you that any of these projects, they're handmade, so there's nothing perfect about a handmade project other than it was perfectly made by the person who made it, just as it should be. So you're always going to have some things that aren't going to look exactly as you want them to, or exactly how you wanted them, but just have to do the best you can do. Like there's a little bit of an edge I'm cutting off there, and I try to score that down. That piece down. I'm going to do this side. And this goes on here. I think I'm going to try this, see if this gets it down a little bit better for me. And then I just work from the middle out to the sides, and hopefully it stops it from doing too much wrinkling. I still have some. Okay, so we have the black all the way around the box itself. And so what I'm going to do now is I want to put together the top of the box, and we're also going to get this divider in. So let's do the top of the box first, and then we'll work on that. So here is the top. Basically what I did with the top is I made this, rather than 2 inches wide, I'm sorry, 2.5 inches wide, I made it 2 inches wide because I didn't want it to be going all the way to the bottom of the box. I wanted some area or some room to the bottom. So the sides of the boxes are 8.5 by 2. And the reason why they're 8.5 is so that they're 1/4 of an inch bigger than what the bottom of the box is. So this are the 2 top sides of the box. And then this is the top front of the box. And the front of the box is 9.25 by 2 inches. Same height as the sides, and it's 1/4 of an inch bigger so that it goes around the box. Then the top of the box, what we are going to be doing is it is going to be 8.5 by 9.25. So so that it can easily go over the top of the box as well. So we're going to tape that together and put that all together. So, all right, we're going to start out by just the same way that we did our bottom, is we're just going to tape these on the side, and then we're going to tape, this will be the front of the box. And we will not have anything on the back because we're going to attach the back directly to the box itself and utilize that tape as the hinge. So that's where we're at. You can see that my chipboard is a little bit wider than that, than what I expected. I wonder if I can get away with that. Well, I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to see what happens. Sometimes things that happen are happy accidents. So let's just see how we go with that. I'm going to do the sides first, and then we'll do the front. Don't know why I always am putting that on crooked. First try. There we go. That's the other thing that's really nice about this tape, is that it is sticky, but it is not so permanent that you can't lift and move things around on it. It works pretty well to be able to do that until you have something positioned the way you want it positioned. Twist those around, and then I'm going to do this side. There we go. Alrighty, now let's see how this front piece is going to work for us. It's a little bit longer, but I think it'll be okay because I'm going to put that so that it's to the outside of those pieces, so that it just actually gives us a little bit more width, which is not bad for the top of the box. But let's see what happens. If it doesn't work, then I'm just going to, I will go off and recut or just fix my chipboard piece here. All right. Got a nice corner on that one. So as you can see, then we've got, ooh, that one is a bit off. I'm going to take and pull that one in. It's always a good thing to do is to take a look at it from the other side and see where you were at with that. So what I was planning on doing was bringing this up like this, and then this going to the outside of that box. I hope you can see that, and my hands aren't too much in the way. So I'm going to stretch that tape a little bit so that we have a little bit of room. I see I tore a little bit here. That's because I moved it. But again, that's not going to make a difference because our paper is actually going to go over that. So I'm going to take another piece of this tape and I'm just going to go over that piece to flatten it down. And not to worry about that. We're all good. Because, like I said, all of that will be covered over by our papers. So we can do it this way. I think I'm actually going to do it this way. I think it pulls together a little bit better for us. And let me get the sides and edges together, and then we'll do the other edges. So I'm going to put this, if you look in the middle of this, I'm going to take this and take my straighter edge, and I'm going to put that down along here and down along here. Do some cutting along here. Cut this a little neater. Thank goodness for a longer desk that you won't be able to see all the little bits and pieces I'm throwing over there. So, all right, so we're gonna match this up here. Just over just a little bit along this edge. And then along this edge over here, we just bend this over and we are good to go. Wonder if anybody is watching me out there going, no, don't do that, do it this way. I know when I'm watching a video and somebody is doing a craft or a project and doing a tutorial, sometimes when you get to be on the camera, you make mistakes, and people I'm sure watching the tutorial are going, no, don't do that. Very good. So we're getting there. And we are going to cut this off right here. We'll get another edge going on that. And there we go with our top. One thing that I learned about this, it's more than anything, is that it's better to have the top go a little bit bigger than smaller, because I actually had worked on, I don't want to say designing this box, because for goodness sakes, there's been so many boxes out there designed by different people that it is absolutely not an original idea of my own. But I tried to do, I wanted to try to make the box on my own as far as what I wanted from the box, and I made one prototype out of white cardstock, and then when I put it together with the chipboard, I wasn't thinking that it was going to have the paper on it. And once you have the paper on it, you actually need a little bit more room. So I had to go back to the drawing board and try another one with making the top of the box a little bit bigger than my bottom of my box. So my first box did not work out as good as I wanted it to. So I had to do the other one that I had made that I showed you previously. Okay, we're going to cut this off here. As I go around here, I also take a look at this with when I'm putting the papers on here to make sure that my tape is all laying down well all the way around. And so I'm doing that. And let's take a look. What I'd like to do is the inside corners on this. And actually, if I look at this, I forgot to do that on the inside corners of the bottom of the box. So I'm going to have to go back to do that. Now when I do this inside, what I found has worked better is to at least start out with it to the bottom or the top of the box, and then I come up through the middle. Oh, that wasn't good. I just ripped that. It's the first time I've done that. And it would happen when I'm on camera. So let me just get that fixed. Alrighty. So note to self, don't push too hard with your bone folder, or you'll rip the tape like I just did. Sorry if you can't see that. I just want to get this in here so I can cover up that area. There we go. Much better. Very good. This one I'm actually going to take and cut that down to there, and I'm actually going to bring that down and over, and this one down and over, because it's a longer edge, and it'll be covered over by the black tape that we put on the top. So I'll do the same thing on this side, and then I'm going to go back and do the bottom corners, because like I said, I forgot to do that. And once we do that, then I will get this top put onto the box itself. So just a little bit more to go. All right, so I've got those corners, those down there. Then I'm going to run around. In here first. I think you can see what I mean, that if you're putting black cardstock hinges or cardstock all the way around on this, how long it would take to cut all of those out and have to put them on to all of these edges. I think it would take such a long time, and I just think the black tape is so much easier to go. And yes, I don't think I'm overly wasteful with my tape, but I'm not going to get worried about some little pieces here or there either, because I'm more about getting the craft done than saving a couple pieces here or there. So, all right. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to take another piece and go across the top side of that. Going to take this one, I think, a little bit further. No, I guess I'm not. And then now I have a little bit of an edge here that I really want to make sure I'm covering, so I've just taken another little piece of tape and pushed it down on the side here. So, and that's, you know, that's something that you're just not even going to see once you get all the paper on. And if somebody wants to look that closely at your craft or your project, well, again, I'm going to just say there is no perfection in homemade crafts. So I always do my best, but it's not always perfect. And same thing on here, I wanted to go a little bit more over the top of this. Actually, I'm going to pick that up and I'm going to do something different. I'm gonna change my mind. How many of you change your mind? You get started on something and then you think, ah, I should have done it a different way. And thank goodness for tape that comes up, because it allows you to change your mind. Alrighty, so that tape is down there. I am going to take this and I want to miter this so that it lays down on my box. All right, so there we've got the top done, other than doing the back and along these sides. So I'm going to do that real quick, and that'll just take a couple minutes. If anyone is still with me here with all of this taping, I thank you for staying with me and following through. I welcome any comments or any feedbacks on the process itself. I've gotten feedback from people that they like to see the whole thing, and so that's part of the reason why I'm going ahead and taping this whole taping experience, and always giving people the opportunity to go ahead and fast forward if it's not what they want to watch. So, alrighty, let's cut off some of that tape if need be, and we're going to go back to this part and just finish off. This is for the bottom back. This is the divider. I didn't finish off the insides of here, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that, and I will be right back. Okay, so this is our finished box here that was my first box that I had done. So we're going to add this divider, and we're going to put the top on the box along with the knob on the box. So Isn't this the truth? I lost my ruler. I'm not sure where I put it or what I did with it because of the fact that I took it traveling and I'm not sure where I put it. So I just marked on my wood here, or not wood, but chipboard, where that was on my box so that I would have the measurements for that going onto the inside of that box. I've got some cards here, so just to make sure we're not too tight or too loose, I want to make sure that I've got that in the right spot along with our rule book. I want to make sure there's plenty of room for that, or our scorekeeping book. So I think we're going to be good right about there. Just to the inside of those marks. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in. I think it'll be easier to get it in before I put the top on. What I am going to do though is I'm going to do some covering this top piece. And this divider again is 8 1/4 by 2. It's the same height as the top of the box because I didn't want the divider to be as tall as the bottom of the box. If you want that, then you just have to make your divider a little bit taller. But for me, I wanted to have it be just a little bit lower in the box. So I'm just covering over the top of the box or the divider. And then we'll get that in. And you can see also in the bottom that I covered the corners, so we're all set to go on that. So really, it's so easy for just putting the whole chipboard box together and then going ahead and cutting whatever papers that you really want to put on the outside of your box. Anything really would work. It could be a floral. I only chose the card one because I just really liked this paper that Jenofeve from Jenofeve Designs. So if you're a part of her Facebook group, again, this paper came from her Friday Freebies collection. And she, every once in a while, creates something that is a new project or product, and she gives it away for free rather than selling the tutorial or the paper or whatever it is that she has. So as you can see, I just put the tape on the outside of this. I thought it would make it a little bit easier getting it in, hopefully. Hopefully I'll be able to see that. Where those marks are, I want to go just a little bit to the inside of those marks. And there we go. And then I can get that down, divider right in there. Use my bone folder to get any wrinkles out. Careful not to pierce the tape like I did before, and then we'll pull that in and do those sides. I suppose it would help if I just cut the pieces instead of ripping it each time, huh? Oh my goodness. I'm going to tip this up a little bit. I know that you can't really see inside here, and I apologize for that, but I basically put it to the bottom, and if you can see, I put it to the bottom, and then I usually press down on here, and then I press down on the side, so that I typically get a pretty flat fit from my tape. And now I'm going to cut that, and this one I'm just going to let go up, and this one I'm going to put down. And we're going to do the other side of this one. a little better. How many of you are messy crafters? I just get everything out at one time and then I seem to keep going and going, and I do eventually clean up, but at the time I'm crafting, if I'm working on a mini album or I'm making something, it seems like my desk just gets fuller and fuller and fuller, full of supplies or scissors or you name it. All right, so we have that in up the side. I'm going to put that one down over, where this one I'm going to put down over to this side. And then we've got just these sides to finish up, and then we've got our divider in. So I'm going to make that size. Again, I've got to look to the inside of this box, so I apologize if you can't. Yeah, I can't do that. It's not going to work very easily. So as you can see, I went in and put it in, and now I'm lightly pushing it off to the sides, and I'm going to get my bone folder, and before I put it down firmly, I'm just making sure that it's lining up all the way along and trying not to split my tape like I might have to do here, or just get this to go down a little. This corner as well. And I think that we've got it. This one is okay. If I rip that in the side there, that one is okay, because we're going to put another piece down the side edge there. Or two more pieces, actually. And here we go. Softly put that in down to the bottom, and then easily take that and just rub that along the bottom and then tighten up the sides. I apologize if you can't see, or if you see my head in the camera. My apologies. Just trying to get that tape a little bit flatter. I don't mind a few wrinkles, but I don't want it too obvious. Okay, this one wants to be a little bit of a struggle. Thank goodness for tape that's not overly sticky. There we go. Cut that, and we'll put that down. We'll cut this one and put that down over to there. So now we have our black edge all around, except for right there. And I have a little bit of a scrap here, so I am going to take, yep, you can even, if you've got sections or spots that don't look quite right, you can just take some of your little pieces and that you might have cut off. And there we go. Got that all in there. Again, let me just check to make sure I've got that. That works well. This is good and solid in here. So that is the bottom of our box. Now we're going to put the top of our box on, and the way that I start with doing that is I put it together like this, and I know you can't see the inside of my other box, but I'm going to go ahead and put some tape. No, actually I'm going to put it onto here, I think, and then I'm going to line it up with the bottom. And once we have all the cardstock on, and that'll hold down this tape even a little bit better. Okay. Cut this so that that goes down right into my corner. I'm going to cut this as well. And this edge will go out there. And we will go to the bottom of our box. Oops. And I'm just going to take it like this and line it up because I have a few pieces of tape to the outside there. So I just want to line that up. Well, it's not working quite like I thought. So let's do this so that I can make sure I can see where we're lining up. See where I'm lining up here. And then we're just going to press that down good. I'm going to grab another small piece of my tape that I've got left. I've got a piece here I would like to make a little bit, not stronger, but to cover up part of the box. Do that. Okay, got that side of the box, and what you're going to see then is our box then slides down easily, and I'm going to put some tape on the back of here. Now, one of the things that I do is I do go around and check all the tape on my sides to make sure that nothing is sticking out like it, that it shouldn't be. Everything looks as neat and trim as I can possibly get it. When you have some of these edges, they're not always going to be perfect, so you want to just check those before you start adding the rest of your paper, so that you can make sure that any edges and things are pushed down and shaped the way you want them to be. So, and that, folks, is our box. So we have it all ready and set to go for our designer papers. And we're going to put the front piece latch on here. We will put that on once we start getting our papers put on, but not until that point, because I want to make sure that I get that on the papers. So the last thing that we're going to work on today, because I want to get all the black taping done, is we are actually going to work on our book. So that's very quick and simple to do. Show you what the book looks like. It's just really I used chipboard, and then this is cardstock, and there's also cardstock that's holding this pad in and around the back. So we're going to just get this started, and we'll finish this up with the cardstock. And so the book itself is 5 1/4 by 8 1/8, and that's both. You'll need to cut 2 of those, and then I cut the binding 3/4 of an inch by 8 1/8. So it's just like we did with the book. We're just going to line this up, and there's not really going to be that much added into this booklet, so you don't have to worry about the edges of it. And I mean, you want to bend it up and bend it back, absolutely, but you don't have to worry about it so much like with the mini album, because there's not really going to be that kind of pressure being put on it. But I just bend it as I put the tape on. So what I'm going to do then is just attach these with the black tape. And we're also going to go through, not go through, but go around the edges of the book with the black so that it edges it just like it would have had black cardstock, front and back. And this I'm just folding down, and the reason for that is because we're going to put some black on the back or front, however you want to put it. And I'm gonna try to do this a little bit better. Right. I'll do the same thing here. All right, I think we're just going to bend these over as well. It's going to be covered by cardstock. This one I'm going to cut because it's not really long enough to go over. So we'll make a nice clean edge on that one. And as you can see, then we have the binding of our book, and we can work that a little bit. But it's not so much that you need to worry about it, because you're really just going to be putting in a pocket here and then another, basically a pocket over on this side. So that's all that I'm going to do with you today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'm just going to go and do the black tape around the edge of this book, and just like we did with the box. So I'm not going to go through that with you. And when I come back, we'll finish everything off by putting all the papers on, and that should be a fairly short video as well, and then we'll be done. Thanks very much, and I hope to see you soon on the next tutorial. Have a great day. Bye.